Hello everyone and welcome to Movies with Michael. In every big movie franchise, there are gaps. Yes, the movies, though at times awesome, have only 2 hours, maybe even 3 hours, to get done what they need to get done. And sometimes this is okay. The movies establish everything they need to in the time that they have. However, for the franchise that is Star Wars, which by this point has become quite exhaustive, this is not the case. And what I'm talking about is a major section of the core story of the franchise, that being the lead up to Anakin Skywalker becoming Darth Vader and the reshaping of the galaxy into the Galactic Empire. Now, even as someone who has a higher opinion of the prequel Star Wars films than I think most people have, I admit there are a fair number of problems. But I think the biggest issue is the gap of everything contributing to the tragic ending of The Revenge of the Sith. How did Anakin go from being the noble warrior at the beginning of that film to slaughtering children left and right by the film's third act? And what was Darth Sidious doing the whole time as Supreme Chancellor and steering both sides of the Clone War to feed into his ultimate goal of the Empire and, of course, becoming Emperor? Well, the 7-season-long spin-off animated series called Star Wars: The Clone Wars answers a lot of those questions and adds to everything that the films just ran out of time to do. Being films, they already had to get into an established end, that being Anakin Skywalker being Darth Vader. So, in each season of the Clone Wars, different situations befell Anakin that contribute to his frustration against the Jedi Order and the Republic. These increase as the seasons go on, especially with his Padawan Ahsoka Tano's cruel and unfair treatment at the hands of the Jedi Order. Each one pushes Anakin's suppressed emotions of rage and passion closer and closer to the edge till they boil over in Revenge of the Sith. We get to see more of the main character of Star Wars that the films just couldn't get to. And it's really because of this show that Anakin Skywalker is my favorite character in the franchise, period. Another important character that I think was added to by the Clone Wars is the character of Count Dooku. Now, he was cool in the films. Like, for what we got to see of him in the films, he was cool. But he wasn't written very well. And he certainly didn't get the amount of screen time that a character played by Sir Christopher Lee himself deserved. The series built upon the ex-Jedi Master, and also it makes him into one of my favorite characters in the franchise as well, creating a complex character, which is pretty uncommon given that Star Wars, for the most part, has straightforward and easy-to-understand characters. But of course, we can't talk about Star Wars: The Clone Wars without mentioning Ahsoka Tano. Now, when the character was added into the show, for the first several episodes she was in, she was just really a sassy and somewhat annoying teenager that was accompanying Anakin and Obi-Wan on their adventures throughout the galaxy. But the showrunners were quickly able to turn that around and make one of the most compelling characters in the franchise. Period. An animated character. Yes. So, that makes her a significant part of the last few years that Anakin Skywalker had as Anakin before he became Darth Vader. And every Clone Wars fan will be thinking by now of that very frustrating arc in Season 5 of the Clone Wars with Anakin being unjustly judged for something she did not do, for the crime of one of her fellow Jedi. And if anything showed you in the shows and the movies that the Jedi were corrupt and their end was coming for them, it would have been that story. On that subject, we also got to see in the Clone Wars how the Republic and the Separatist Alliance were both steered towards the Galactic Empire by Darth Sidious. The Dark Lord of the Sith had fooled even more people on both sides, that's very important, on both sides of the war than we ever thought. In the case of the Jedi, we got to see how dumbed down and corrupt and just blind they really were. They refused to listen to the advice of their masters like Qui-Gon Jinn. They refused to look into things that their former allies told them, like Count Dooku, who told Obi-Wan the truth of what was going on at the very beginning, and they ignored all the red flags, ignored every warning of their manipulation, of their order being deceived so that Darth Sidious could rise to power and become the ruler of the entire galaxy. And even if you felt bad seeing the Jedi get gunned down by their own troops at the end of Revenge of the Sith, you cannot deny that they certainly had it coming. And after watching the Clone Wars, it makes that ending so much more terrible because you're thinking of every way it could have been avoided. And with that, we've made it to the end of yet another video. Thank you all so much for joining me today, and please remember to leave a like and comment down below if you want for me to talk about more things in the Clone Wars that we just ran out of time to get to today, because I would be very happy to do that. But subscribe also for more content about movies and the occasional television series. That's all for now, and I'll see you all in the next video.